Well, I'm back in Cote. Remember Cote? I do. And it is kind of misting here. It's kind of like a light drizzle. And I just came back to Cote because, well, actually I'm going to complete the walk back to Cartago. And that might be a dumb thing to do because it involves a lot of walking downhill and my calves might really hurt by the end of the day. But it might also be worth it. There's a guy on a horse. Cote looks pretty much like it did last time. I think that's right where I saw the horses last time. And even though it's a little bit cold and wet, that's actually a good thing because I think as I descend, it was hot in San Jose and hot in pretty warm in Cartago still. So it being a little rainy up here isn't a problem. Me finding where I'm going is a little bit of a problem, but I'm safer than in the Picayas walk back Friday. So from here, you can see a little bit of how far I have to go. You can also see a very good dog. That is actually something that I've noticed more in Cote and, you know, in these farming towns near Cartago. So you have a lot more street dogs, which you don't see in San Jose. And they seem to be pretty safe and healthy, but I always get a little nervous seeing them running the road. This is reminding me I probably need to buy a new pair of shoes. I've been wearing these New Balance walking shoes since August, and I think they're losing some of their cushioning, and this hurts. This is the road that continues to Cipreses y Picayas, and this is the road that goes down. It's called Calle la Cuesta, Street of the Cost, and in Spanish, Cuesta, cost, can also mean effort or even like kind of agony. So I will be interested to see what happens here. I'm actually kind of happy that we have, you know, this isn't as paved because it's already lighter on my legs. But let's see what happens as we walk down this road. And from here, looking back to Cote, you can see that it is built on quite a bluff. That also makes sense. When we were in the Picayas walk, we thought that some of that was outcroppings of basalt, so that might be a volcanic outcropping. And I've seen this before, and I thought I was wrong. And I thought those were just like farm ducks or something, but what those are actually are egrets, and they're close to cattle, and I've seen them close to cattle for somewhat obvious reasons. But the question is egrets are usually eating aquatic animals of some sort, but I guess maybe they've adjusted to eating insects that are stirred up in the soil or are attracted to the droppings of cattle. Okay, well that's interesting information. I'm going to continue my peaceful country walk. Well, so far it's only been like 5 minutes. This is a nice, charming country lane walk, the kind I've had in many places. From here, looking down that way, that looks like a ways to walk down. This continues to be a peaceful little country walk, and the next thing that's going to happen is right after this turn, I believe, we're going to come to a fork in the road of sorts, and other than that I'm just going to keep walking. Well, this is interesting. This is something in the carrot family, perhaps a Heraculaeum, perhaps something worse, something I don't want to touch. And that's interesting because those are also temperate plants that would be really common on California coast, Oregon coast, different types in Montana. And I don't know what type that is, but it is interesting to see it here. And I know that carrots proper are grown as a commercial crop here. I haven't seen a lot of wild carrot plants. I've seen a lot of crucifers, but those are really, I think, the first carrots I've seen, or things in the carrot family. Oh, there's some crucifers right there. So this is a fork in the road, and both roads go down, but this is the one I'm going to take. I'm going to take her right here. And let's see how this goes. Otherwise, it looks like it's just going to continue. Not 100% sure, but that looks like potatoes. Those look like nightshade type leaves. It would also make sense. You know, this is the type of upland fields, a little bit rougher, where you can grow potatoes well. So that would be my guess there. I guess there's a couple more things than just potato farming going on here. The mist and drizzle did go away. It is getting sunnier and warmer. On one side we have this dairy building. On the other side we have the Cartago Valley. And one thing that I am happy about is that we actually are getting closer. Well, it feels like it's a little bit closer, but we're doing that in such a way that I'm not actually descending at too hard of a rate. So this walk is working out. So here the road has gotten a little bit steeper and rougher, but it is nothing I can't deal with, at least for a little while. And it's still a nice enough walk. I just have to keep my bearings. Well, this is an ouch, but right there looks like it's going to flatten out, at least for a while. And not terrible, you know, it's kind of worth it. And actually this walk has been less trouble than I thought it would be. And that actually looks like a street light. I wonder if that actually works, or maybe if that was just on the pole when they installed it. But I guess, I mean, it does look like we're leaving the most rural area and entering one of the semi-rural, semi-suburban areas. There are a lot of places outside of Cartago and Paraiso. Oh look, we have a sidewalk. It's actually a really nice sidewalk. Not up to accessibility standards yet, but that's a nice sidewalk. Looks like it'll last at least a while. A car actually stopped and asked me if I needed help, and a lot of times when that happens, I'm like, are these people suspicious of me? But I think he really was just like, oh, are you lost? Because this isn't a place a lot of people would be walking normally. Anyway, so yeah, people here are kind, dogs here are kind. I'm happy. So a bit about the logistics of this trip. I set out late again. Didn't really leave home until almost noon, and then I had to wait for a bus. Bus was slow to get to Cartago anyway. It was almost 3 when I got to Costa, and I was a little bit afraid because there is actually a train that leaves from Oreamuno station at 4:35, and at first I thought I wasn't going to get there, but it looks like now I will. It's just a little while that way, I hope. Oh look, we have a line in the road. We're back in the big city. I said that in Picayas, or actually outside of Picayas, we have a fire hydrant. So even though, I've said this before, even though things can be a little bit rough around the edges in Costa Rica, we do have good infrastructure, especially when it counts. So right around this curve, I'm going to switch to another road. Indeed, I just crossed that curve, and you can see we have some buildings ahead, so we're going to be more in town, is the idea. Just like that, we are in the city. Not even really a transitional suburban area. More or less, you know, buildings chic by jowl. And there's even a bus there, meaning if I want to call it quits now and just leave the last mile undone, I could probably wait for a bus, but I'm going to keep walking. So that is probably the same creek I passed through in Costa that I don't know the name of. And earlier I said we're out of the city pretty much immediately, but there are still fields here, but then go back to buildings that are next to each other. Kind of a land use transition you wouldn't see in the United States. In this area is San Rafael district, Oreamuno Canton of Cartago province. Been here before, including the Oreamuno station, which is where I'm going to return to once I get to the road and turn left and walk down to it. I have 25 minutes to do that. So here we are. Oh, there's a beautiful rainbow, that persistent rainbow. And that is a big church. Looks like pretty modern architecture, including that clock. And then around here, this is the town plaza. And it's actually pretty luxuriant. Nice place. Now I wish I had just like 10 more minutes here. Including we have this nice sculpture, this nice heroic sculpture. And San Rafael is like a lot of places in Cartago. Wouldn't say there's anything wildly different about it. does seem to be kind of a little bit outside of the city. Nice place in general, and I like being here. Rica in the Huaytar language signifies waterfall. And this all, well, most of Costa Rica, but especially around here, was Huaytar, which is why you have Cot, which is kind of a strange name in Spanish, but that is a version of a Huaytar word. And apparently that was a Huaytar settlement when the Spanish arrived. San Rafael looks like a pretty chill place, and on another day I would spend more time here. Just sit down, relax, but today I do have places to be, so I'm gonna go down that way to the train station. I believe that is that's the Palacio Municipal, that's the City Hall of Oreamuno. And that actually kind of solves the problem for me, because I was wondering what to call this video, because this video involves different things. It involves Cot, which is very rural, and I was out like in the farm fields, and now I'm in the city. But these are all part of one canton, and that's quite common in Costa Rica, that you can have a canton with a weird shape that goes from a residential or even pretty urban area up until rural areas and then into the wilderness. This canton, I think, goes up to the top of the volcano. It goes up to the cloud forest of the volcano. And so even though it's disparate, that is what life is like here, and the economy and the society here is based on that farming, or at least heavily related to that farming. So I'll probably call this video Oreamuno Cot to San Rafael. So I have another 10 minutes to get down this road to Oreamuno station. Of course, sometimes the train comes late, and even it being 3 or 4 minutes late would give me a lot of cushion. And if it's late there, it doesn't come to Oreamuno for another more than an hour, but then I just walk back to Cartago and be cool. So it looks like we are almost there. It should be around these trees right there. So this is Station Oreamuno, and I've been here before, but now I finally get to catch a train here. And this day was important for me. I gotta walk from up there down here. Not the most epic walk, but pretty good for a Wednesday. And this also completes the logic between Picayas and Alajuela. So I'm pretty happy.